So actually, along the lines, and I'll make it quick. Um, the one that I had planned to tell you today was an interesting experience that I had. Now, like I said before, of all the experiences that I've had, they've only occurred with Wendy, with my Wendy by my side. I haven't experienced. She's experienced that at the same time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she's seen what I've seen or she's felt what I've felt. She might have felt something completely different and we haven't experienced together. But usually she doesn't like see the same thing or smell the same thing. She gets her own experience.
Yeah.
So the one that I wanted to mention was one that I've never discussed, I don't think, on this podcast before. And it happened at the James Eldred house in Eldred, Illinois. And Wendy had an experience there. We had a
Mm-hmm.
couple experiences, but one that continues to really blow my mind was when we were outside of the James Eldred house. And this is this old, old house in the middle of the farm somewhere in Illinois. Like, I don't know,
It is
farm.
in the middle of fucking nowhere. Yes.
Yeah, it's nowhere. So but this house is so cool and it's ancient, it's got history, and this was an open, um, what do you call it? Open
Like a
paranormal
public,
investigation.
yeah, public event.
Yeah, thank you. It was a public event. So we were there with like several other people, but this was back in the day when Wendy and I were like, we're going all night. We are here until the last, the first signs of light. So we were in the middle of an exchange in the building, and they were basically swapping up the teams, right? So Wendy and I kind of walked along the side of the house, along the tree line. And as we're passing the tree line, Wendy suddenly she's doing something with her camera, and I don't know if she's changing out the battery or if she's trying to look to see if it recorded. I really don't know what she's doing, but she's consumed. And I happen to look up at the window in the James Eldred house, and I see a ball of light appear. It just appeared, and it floats across the window. It just floats, and I'm trying to get Wendy's attention because I'm standing there in the woods, witnessing this ball of light just appear and float in front of this window, and I'm even touching Wendy, and she is not responding like one bit. And I'm like, "Can you hear me? What is going on? What's wrong?" And Wendy turns and looks at me and she says, "I don't know what's going on. I heard you." And that like really creeped me out. Like, are we in like a time warp? Like, were you frozen? Did the hidden people come and take you from me for a second? You couldn't move, and I'm trying to get you to watch this. And I go back, and it's gone. It's stopped. It's disappeared. It's not there anymore. So I've got nothing to show Wendy. But while I was entranced in this, because I didn't want to take my eyes off of it, I'm noticing it doesn't cast any kind of light ray like a flashlight would if someone was shining a light up there. It would have, I don't know, kind of like an effect where the light is hitting the window and shimmering, kind of, right? Even if someone was against the window with a light, they wouldn't have been able to, glide. Like, it just went zzz, just like that,
Yeah.
and it was gone.
And that was in the attic, and you weren't supposed to be in the attic. Like, we went
That's
in the
another thing.
attic afterwards.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But nobody was supposed to go up there, and nobody was supposed to be in the house at that time because we were all supposed to be outside, like doing a regroup type thing, and then you were going back into the house.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was either right before or right after we all had that huddle right in front where we were supposed to be talking about our experiences. And this was back with the Bump in the Night group.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job. Lauren Taylor, I think was his name. Is that right?
So Troy Taylor owns the company, Bump in the Night, but Lauren, I think his name is Lauren. He was the tour guide that we went on a few of their tours, and we always seemed to get him.
Yes, I love him. I mean, he was just so laid back. He was just sort of like, all right, if you got any questions, I'll be here on this chair, just sitting
here waiting on you. But he did have a lot of great experience that he's had, and he was real knowledgeable of the places that we went to most of the time. So he was a cool guy. But I remember being entranced with something, like I thought I heard something in the woods.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, to me, you were a million miles away because I could not get you to stop fixating on whatever you were doing to turn. Like, you were just like, what? Like, I heard you. Like and when you turned around too, it was like bizarre.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, what just happened?
Yeah, it was like it's like I could hear you talking to me, but it was really muffled. Like I couldn't make out what you were saying because I just wasn't focused on whatever was happening with you. I was trying to focus on something else. But that's really all I can remember of the moment. I wonder, that was a great location. I love that location. We've talked about it before on the podcast, way in the beginning, I think. I don't remember the title. Something about cheese snacks, though. But you can also, if you go back onto like iTunes, then you can see it'll say James Eldredge House. So if you want to hear the full story about that place, check out that episode because it's an epic place. It's like one of my favorites. But that was also probably only like the second or third big investigation that we had done.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure maybe Waverly Hills was before that, and definitely the Waseca Wonder House. But we didn't see any actual apparitions at the Waseca House, and I don't remember seeing them at Waverly either. Maybe like shadows out of the corner of your eyes type thing, but not a full on like, what the fuck is that? So that might have been the first time you've ever seen a ghost then.
Yeah. Good point.
Or something that could be a ghost. Yeah.
There was just, that place had an intense energy to it. Wendy had a great experience. It wasn't great, actually. She had an experience, and that's when I found out that Wendy would use me as a human shield, if necessary. But things happened over and over and over again that couldn't be explained. And then I got a photograph that just blew my mind, man. It looked like there was this like whited out face of a figure that was holding his hand in front of a woman who was taking a picture, almost to say, you can't get this picture. So I always go back to that picture and say, did he have his hands over Wendy's ears at the time I was trying to get her attention?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great location. And yes, that was, I mean, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Probably my first parent, and probably why it was such a epic moment for me, that I saw all of this happening and I could not get anyone else to witness it. My compadre Wendy was like right there, and she's just like in a trance. It was such a crazy moment.
It is.